Welcome to the Heart of Racing, mate, alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. What a week we have this week. Will Freedman joins me as usual. How are you, Will?
Good. Racing's good. Like it. We're going to get a bit of rain here.
Yeah, we will. We'll get right into it all through the show, and I'll give you the forecast and all the contingency plans and everything that's going to happen. But we always start with the pineapple. What jockey slaughtered one, Will?
Oh, Tim Clark. Oh, he gave one.
Macarena.
Ooh. He wouldn't have been doing the Macarena after that one.
What did he do?
Well, he got into a lovely position early, and it's a bit unlike Tim Clark of recent years.
Yeah.
Gave up the lead, got behind something that was 40, 50 to 1. I think it was the fifth race. So the first four races had been on pace.
On pace and on the fence. Yeah. Then it changed a bit later in the day.
To be fair, to give credit to the track, it improved throughout the day. So, but anyway, he's in a position where he can just control things up front on a horse that has been in bad luck, been stuck wide. So you think because you're in the box seat, you're in a good spot. But when you're behind 240 to 1 chances in front,
you're in trouble. When I'm on one and
you want to
make fancy and there's a roughie in front, or
you
even
get
if
worried,
it's running
don't you?
fifth and there's a roughie running just in front of a third on the fence, I don't like it.
Because it's okay if one of the two leaders are a good horse, because you get on the back of it and then the one that goes backwards, you can take their running line afterwards. But it didn't get out of third gear. And you could just see halfway up the straight, Tim Clark going, so.
He knew his strike. Okay, Tim Clark this week probably won't win for the year, but Tim Clark.
Mate, it was pretty bad. It was a shocker. I reckon you go back and watch it and look how hard hell Macarena was. I know Michael Hawkes wasn't a happy camper on Monday morning.
Okay, the Sayonara. I've got one. I've got two, actually.
I'm on you with this one.
Celestial Legend in the Doncaster.
Yeah.
Firstly, the track. It's got the blows already. Secondly, we spoke about it last week. The Randwick Guineas form's not holding up.
Nah.
The Australian Guineas form is holding up. And I know it's got a lightweight and everything, but I can't have it in the Doncaster.
Tell you what, I'd actually prefer to take Militarized than I would to take Celestial Legend.
In the Donny?
Yeah.
Got more weight.
But Militarized likes a wet track, I don't know.
It's happy with the wet track Militarized. It's going to be a bog.
I would take Militarized, and the market's sort of indicating that as well. We'll get to it later, but but they're going to have to be pretty good to run down another Will.
We'll get to it. We'll get to that race. So you're Sayonara-ing one, or you just joining me on Celestial Legend?
I'm on with you. That was my clear one. Like, I've been big on it. I don't think the the Randwick Guineas has been a good form reference. So probably, as I said, I would take Militarized over Celestial Legend, but I'd throw them both out. They won't win.
They're so simple, Will. I've got two of them. When we look back at last week's racing, we go, of course that was going to win. One of them was another Will.
Yeah.
And I backed it, I wasn't Robinson Crusoe. Plenty of people did. It was short in the Doncaster Prelude. Way too good for them.
But it was very short. I know it won like a good thing, but it was
$1.45. But I wasn't even, I got $2 for it, so I wasn't even worried about
That's
it.
good.
I just thought it would win, and it did.
And keep in mind, people forget, Jamie Carr came up for that ride.
I know.
In a Group 3.
And she said, I'll follow this horse anywhere.
That tells you a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, and she knows a good horse, and she is riding stacks of winners, and there you go. Orchestral, which won the 3-year-old fillies race. Now, I've got it in as the So Simple.
I don't think it's that simple. I thought it was gone at the 300. I thought it was done.
You didn't think it would win?
Obviously, class prevailed.
Right, and it got
but it did not look like the winner at the 300, the 200, and then at the 150, you're like, it's got one more gear to go into. But it was, look, I've been critical of Nash on plenty of things. One thing, he has got two big cojones, and he just keeps making bold moves. You look like a genius when they work and an idiot when they don't. And I thought it was a brilliant ride. But how about, so the word was that after the race, it looked like Nash was patting James on the back. Not so much. There was a little bit of argy-bargy. It was not as jovial as it first appeared.
So what was Nash riding?
He was on Tutor La Vida.
Tutor La Vida nearly stole the race.
And then James, being, the kid from New Zealand, I reckon he gave him a bit of lip. I think there was a bit of background the race a race or two before, there was a bit of
Oh, I like this.
and then
argy bargy.
a bit of argy-bargy in the rooms before, and then I reckon James came back and said, I don't know what he said. He said something to Nash.
and
Nash
then
didn't like it, and it looks like he patted him on the back, but I reckon it was more like a left hook than it was a pat on the back.
Ooh.
But I don't know whether he connected. Anyway, apparently by the time they got back to the rooms, it was all, done and dusted.
Hunky-dory.
But there was a bit of
tension.
That's right.
Let's get into Gates Fly. It's our issues-based segment. What I want to talk to you about, Will, is contingency plans in racing when a big meeting's under threat and has to be cancelled because of the weather. The situation in Sydney is this. There could be up to 50 mils of rain Thursday, up to 100. That's up to 100 on Saturday. In pockets, there could be more, then up to 50. 100 on Friday, then up to 50 on Saturday. The lower ends are like 10, 25, 10. If we only get 10, 25, and 10, then no problem. But if we get 50 to 60 mils, 100 mils, even 100 plus mils, and then another 50 mils, the meeting's under threat. And bit of a scoop for the show, I can reveal as an exclusive that the contingency plan's already been put in place. And what the Australian Turf Club and Racing New South Wales will do if the meeting's cancelled is shift the entire championships back a week. So we'll come back for Doncaster Handicap next week. Then they'll go the next 2 weeks of the championships. There is a meeting at Rose Hill, which is a bridge between the Randwick meetings and the provincial meetings like Scone and everything.
Yep.
There's a Rose Hill meeting, which is just a benchmark meeting on April 27. It's gone.
Yeah,
It'll just
makes
be gone.
sense.
They'll just rip it out of the schedule and then they'll just go on.
They might even shift some of those races to midweek races. They
can do that.
They can mix it round because
they can do that.
To be fair, the programming from a trainer's point of view for that lost meeting might be a target race for one of your horses.
Yeah, you might be targeting a benchmark
78 or whatever it is, and then you just go, okay, well, just make sure every horse is catered for within that week, and it doesn't matter if it goes to the midweeks. It just you need that run to get you and. Also, horses that are targeting that Scone meet, they're just trying to get their prep underway.
Those ones should be fairly unaffected at this stage because that meeting comes out and they'll stay on the dates they're on. But I wanted to ask you this as an industry participant. What are the logistics of cancelling a race meeting?
Well, it happens more than you think. Most people are always alarmed when meetings get canned, right? Because there might be connections of horses.
It's a problem for the club because of catering and staffing.
Of course, all of that. But obviously, safety is a huge paramount for horse and human. And jockeys, if they can't see, it's a dangerous situation. Can you imagine driving a car with no windscreen wipers?
If the conditions are unsafe, the races will be off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So logistically, it's not as big a concern. Most trainers aren't traveling more than about 2 hours away. But most trainers and owners would prefer the meet to be called off early, rightly or wrongly.
Yeah, don't call it off at 11.
Yeah, because horses, when I was training at Scone, we'd have been on the road for 3 hours to get to the first race.
And then you're just doing a Yui.
And then you're doing a Yui, and the horse is then on the truck for 6 hours because you're not actually probably stopping. So a welfare perspective, there's a bit of an issue. It's more about programming. Some horses it suits, others it doesn't. I remember, I think it might have been, there was a race of which, was it the Golden Slipper pushed back a week?
The Golden Slipper got pushed back a week a couple of years ago.
Because when Stay Inside won, and I remember it suited Stay Inside. It
had an extra week.
It had an extra week to recover. It had some little niggles that's nothing to concern about, but just the extra week helped. Other horses, they're over the top with another week. So it doesn't suit everybody. It's probably not, people will think it's unfair if it really affects their horse. But I mean,
well, it's either push it back a week or don't have the race at all.
That's right. And look,
I have to have the race.
I think they'll try everything they can to keep it on the day.
They will, and that's because of the catering perspective and all of those things that happen. But then again, they have insurance policies in place.
As a punter,
if there's 100 mils on Friday and then it's pouring down Saturday morning, that affects the crowd.
Yeah, of course it does.
People go, you know what? I'm just going to watch it on the big screen at home, and I'll get the gang round. We'll have a barbie.
And the biggest thing in racing, and I've been big on, I've said this a number of times on this program, is crowd engagement, actually attending the races, is still the most important part of racing.
Yeah.
Everyone tries to say, oh, yeah, but it's a TV sport, it's a gambling sport. That's all good, but we're riding the coattails from the 70s when everyone went to the races. And they're all still gambling at home because they've always been interested in the races. Yeah. What's going to happen in 20 years when there's been less crowds?
The coattails are getting shorter.
Yeah, they're getting older. Some of them, unfortunately, will have passed. And then you've got no interest coming through. It's just you're only having people that want to punt at the pub, which is perfectly fine. But I get jealous about seeing those crowds at Randwick and they had 50, 60,000 there.
Oh,
like the betting ring was just buzzing. Like I think it should be to be able to be a bookmaker that puts odds up for horse racing. You should have to have a presence on track.
Yeah.
And the betting ring should try and become electric again because it is one of the greatest draw cards of Australian racing is going into that betting ring and just being like, trying to find 20 cents better for your odds.
Mate, don't worry. Will, I spent, my late teenagers, my 20s, my 30s at the track having 5 each way going, is that 5.50 price going to push out to 6 at any time?
And also make the odds better on track. Like have the odds and make people want to come because in the end it works out for the bookmakers anyway because they want to gamble, so they'll do it online when they leave. We've got to make
it easier for them to go, not so expensive. See, what happens is when the big meetings come around, the race clubs jack the prices up because the interest is there because they need revenue to pay for all the other things they're doing.
We just need to figure out what is going to get people to the races, and it's so paramount. And as you said, if it means for the sacrifice of 1 week, we go back a week when the weather's going to be much better, and it is, because I've looked at the weather, push it back a week.
Rightio. Let's get into the Ladbrokes Racing Club update. Now, the Ladbrokes Racing Club Stable Star Remark is being held back from Group 1 action this week. Instead, it will be aimed at the Group 3 Hallmark Stakes at Randwick Saturday, April 20. Probably a good idea. I reckon an easier race. The Waller-trained Masquerade is set to race on a suitable rain-affected surface at Eagle Farm this Saturday, so it likes the wet. Rising trip to 1,800 metres should pose no problems. She has a lightweight, get an economical run as well throughout. And an army of loyal Ladbrokes Racing Club members will be in attendance after being drawn as winners of the Ownership Experience ballot. So good luck to all of those people. Have a great day if you've been drawn out of the ballot, and good luck to Remark when it races in the Group 3 Hallmark Stakes, Randwick, Saturday, April 20, and Masquerade, 1,800 metres this Saturday at Eagle Farm. This is the Heart of Racing, made alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. Next, we're going to give you the big bets and all the form for this weekend's racing, particularly the Group 1s at Randwick. Take on the fun with Ladbrokes. Download the Ladbrokes app today for all your favourite racing features like Black Book, yard comments and more. You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential advice, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Welcome back. This is the Heart of Racing, made alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. And Will Freedman and I are now going to get into the big Group 1s at Randwick this Saturday. Look, hard to do the form because of the rain that's on the way. We're going to start with the Doncaster Mile, the famous Doncaster Mile. The favourite is Another Will at $3.60. Celestial Legend is $8.50, out from $6 already when Ladbrokes put the market up yesterday. Militarised at $8.50. There's money for Lady Laguna into 10 from 12. Lindemann 17. Detonator Jack 18. Kovalik at $20. Zugotcha 16. Obamburamai, the Japanese horse that won the Golden Eagle. It's at $9.50. It's gone out slightly. Not sure the Japanese horses like the wet track. Think about it. The Everest winners at $18. Will, form in this race. Wet track. Big field.
But are we doing this again? I feel like every time I'm just trying to get up the wet form as we're talking. But do we do this every time about the Japanese horses? Like we always go, oh, yeah, they won't do this. They won't do that. They won't do this. And then they're just better than us. Like,
mate, that Obamburamai came out here for the Golden Eagle. He was better than him.
Oh, he's so much better. I'm just trying, as I said, as we're here to get up the wet form just to see how bad it is.
I don't even know how much, I don't even know how often it's run on a wet track, but I know that his sire was a dirt horse from the US.
He's been on the soft once and won. So,
okay.
I mean, he's never been tested. You're right. Heavy's different.
Good price, $9.50 though.
I see this all the time. These Japanese horses go all over the world and they just win. Like, and Damien, one thing I don't understand is Josh Parr was booked for this horse.
But
now Damien Lane's on it.
Well, maybe the Japanese connections because he'd done a lot of riding in Japan.
I know, I get why he's on it, but literally, Josh Parr came out and said he was booked on it.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what the fallout is.
And he did ride it to win the Golden Eagle. What about another Will, the lightweight chance at $3.60? It's a classic Doncaster horse, isn't it?
It is, but it's the wet is. But I like
barrier 21.
But I like the wet. I like the weak backup. No. The wide barriers in the Doncaster has never been a problem.
Yeah.
Like somebody put a stat on social media, and it was like 13 of the last 20 winners have been from barrier 8 wider.
Or worse, yeah, right.
Because it's a good run in from the mile mark.
I know, and they thunder from the start. You can get caught in near the fence somewhere.
And it's a long
field.
straight, and it's one. I know it's a big arching turn, but they all stay tight on the turn because it's a big long straight. They don't fan like they do at smaller tracks.
Yeah.
So what happens is everyone gets nervous on smaller tracks, so they all go at the same time and they fan out 9 and 10 wide. But so you'll see that at Moonee Valley, like you see in Cox Plates. Like if you're 3 wide in the Cox Plate, you'll be 8 wide by the time they straighten.
Exactly.
But at Randwick, they all run tight at Randwick until they straighten, and then they know the rise is coming, and so I reckon that's why it lends to it's a lot fairer at the mile mark. So I'm not worried about the barrier, and I'm not worried about the backup. I like the backup into a mile race, but I have this really suspicious feeling like Oban Burumai is just going to blouse them, and we go, that was so simple.
And it'll be the so simple.
So I'm trying to preempt the so simple.
Look, I've got to dive into the form. I'm a little bit stuck on Kovalika. I just think he's a good horse. I've been waiting for him to produce. You
like a Queensland rep.
Well, it's sort of a Queensland rep because it won the Queensland Derby, but that's I don't know. It's look, Lady Laguna. Annabelle Neesham's bullish about her.
How can you doubt it? Like it just keeps running.
I think its form is 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2 or something since a spell.
It's a great race because it's so open. And think about it could come out and just blouse them. And you go, that was so simple as well. It's been building. It's been
getting ready. It was set for this race. It's at $18. Think about it.
Like this is a proper Group 1.
Yeah,
and this is
proper Group 1 race.
This is why which race do you prefer? The Doncaster Mile or the All-Star Mile? Clearly this.
Yeah, clearly.
Clearly, this is the better race. So this is why the All-Star Mile doesn't work, because it's competing with this. The Everest competes with nothing.
Exactly. And this is a good race. Let's go to the Derby. Now, Riff Rocket opened yesterday on Ladbrokes at $3.40. It's into $2.90. That's that's a more right price. When it was $3.40, I couldn't believe it yesterday. Zardozi, the filly for Godolphin, is going to race in the Derby. $3.90 on the drift out from $3.30. Tom Kitten's at $7.50. Willie Produce, I've been waiting all campaign. Seal Wolf at $10. Wymark is at $9. I think Riff Rocket's a proper horse. I think he's going to be a weight for age horse in this coming spring, and I think he wins.
I had no doubt when this race came out that you would say Riff Rocket wins. You were on it first up, weren't you?
I was on it first up.
So, but I think you're going to find out how much better the girls are than the boys in the stay race.
Oh, okay.
I reckon
you think these girls are way better?
Yeah. And on the week back up, it's always a good method for 3-year-old stayers.
Nice and fit.
Like you look at the wakeful before the VRC Derby, it's 4 days before. Like the backup really, or might be 5 days, sorry. It always works. I reckon Zardozi, you'd be like, it'll be another so simple. I'm giving you all the scoop for next week. You can write this down for the scaffold next week. But Zardozi is a so simple.
So simple. I'm writing it down.
And Oran Burumai.
Oban Burumai, arrow down to there. So simple. Okay.
And if neither of them win, I'll be the simple one.
Rightio. I do think it's a race in 2, but I think Riff Rocket wins. The TJ Smith. Okay, this is the interesting one. Great race. Imperatriz. The champ from New Zealand, the sprinting champ who just wins everything in Melbourne, $3.30 favourite. I wish I win. First up for the Moody stable, J-Mac aboard, $4.20.
Likes a wet track.
Sunshine in Paris, $8. Private Eye, wow, fancy Private Eyes at $21. Half Cabin, $19. Bella Nipotina runs well on the wet, 13. Espiona, 15. Look at Cylinder. Won the Newmarket 2 starts ago. It's $31. That's because it's weight for age and they don't think it can beat Imperatriz and the others at weight for age. What do you like?
I don't like Imperatriz because I don't like I'm Invincibles on the wet. Like, they
Right.
just don't handle it. I mean,
As a breed.
they don't.
She mightn't start,
I'd be guarded if I was them. But where do you go?
Well, there's nowhere to go.
So you're in the paddock.
What, you go to the Doomba 10,000 or something?
They're not going to go to Queensland. No. Sorry, Queensland listeners, but they will not send her there. I wish I win. I like on the wet. First up, I'm not doubting Moody, and I know he's a
First up, it's going to be a hard slog of a 1,200.
If it's a heavy 9, I'm worried. If it's soft 7, I'm bullish. Sunshine in Paris going well.
I might take my chances with Bella Nipotina each way, I think.
Yeah, I don't mind after cabin.
$19 a good price.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing around the edges. I mean,
yep.
I think
you can play around the edges all day on Saturday.
Have a Breenie.
Yeah, just
play speed.
I reckon you can play around the edges all day on Saturday, probably with the exception of the Derby. The size produce, the 2-year-olds are going to get out there in the Group 1. Can Stormboy at $2.60 turn the tables? It finished third in the Golden Slipper behind Lady of Camelot at $3.90. Manal, big run in the Slipper, $7.50. Coleman, your favourite horse, $7 in from $8.50 already. And Traffic Warden is at $8.50 as well.
This is a no-bet race for me.
Heavy track, 1,400.
Like if someone said you have to have a bet, I'd back Stormboy because I reckon he's going to be a 1,600-metre horse.
Right.
And I think he probably will handle it. He hasn't done a lot. Like, he has won on a rain-affected track before, but this could be a different kettle of fish. I think he's probably... The only thing I'd say is Coleman's fit. Like, it had
fit as a fiddle.
The lead up to the Slipper was the week before, then ran in the Slipper, then will run in this. It's like, it's a fit horse. But I think Stormboy's the class horse. Didn't get all the luck in the Slipper. Was a big run to run third. Did he run third? Or fourth?
Ran third. It was an enormous effort to run
so
third.
I think your Stormboy's your natural lenience, but I think it's let's just wait and see, and then you can back one in the Champagne the week after, 2 weeks after.
Rightio. Caulfield on Saturday. There's a decent race on. The carnival's wound down now. There's a Group 3 1,400-metre Victoria handicap, one of those classic Caulfield 1,400-metre races, and of course, Buffalo River's in it. It's $4.
Yeah.
Rock hard fit, and it'll lead. The favourite's Globe, $3.70. Interesting horse. It was winning by panels, 4 from 4. Went out for a spell, came back in the spring, finished last in the Fian at Moonee Valley. Must have been injured. 32 lengths it was beaten as a $3 favourite. Tipped out. Comes back here as favourite. Here to shock for Haystable at $4.80. So a race in 3. Look, it just depends whether you trust Globe.
And do you think Buffalo River's run into some handy ones? Like, is it his turn?
Mate, Buffalo River could get in front here and could just flounce them.
I think it's sort of a wait and see. Look how the track's playing. If it's playing,
if leaders are playing well, then
I'd be more likely to lean to Buffalo River than Globe myself.
Yeah, Globe looked like the horse for last spring, and then just that shocker in the Fian, nothing happening. Hey, in Perth, we should mention that Amelia's Jewel returns on Saturday at Ascot. She's a $1.90 favourite in the Group 3 1,100-metre race. She's aimed at the Quokka, and she looks like she might be going to Queensland. Look, she came across to the Eastern Seaboard last spring.
She wasn't that bad. But she just had a big rap on her. Like, she was the next coming of Christ.
Yeah, and it just didn't happen in Melbourne. Then it just didn't happen in the Golden Eagle. I think you can put a line through it.
I think she's better than that bunch over there. Whether the Quokka's harder for her.
Better, I think $1.90.
It's probably not that bad.
I know, but
chuck it into
it's one of those things over 1,100 where something could get out in front of us. She'll just come flying home, missed by a nose. But anyway, we could be desperate by then, so we'll be taking the $1.90. Okay, Stable Mail. It's no longer called the Owen because you're on the board.
But I got nothing this weekend. I got nothing.
Well, it's for Ladbrokes communities. Ladbrokes communities ever want to connect, banter, share tips with a group of diehard racing punters? It's time to check out communities available in the Ladbrokes app. We'll look into the futures. Look into what about next week, midweek or something? Got anything on the horizon?
I got one coming that I'll precurse now and I won't mention it again. So this is your mail.
Okay.
I've got a horse called Piraeus, who is the toughest horse to back of all time because he always runs second and third. But he will run 2 weeks Wednesday, at Gosford over 2,100 in benchmark 78,
Yep.
and he should be winning.
You've targeted it 2.5 weeks out.
Yeah.
I like this. 2,100 metres. I'm going to put it in my black book.
Yeah, Piraeus. Piraeus.
Oh, yeah. I know that horse. Piraeus.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a Ladbrokes Black Booker
Black Booker.
from the Freedman stable. I love it. Hey, it's time to unload Will Freedman. I'm unloading on Riff Rocket, and I'm backing Kovalika each way in the Doncaster.
Well, we're going at
head-to-head. Are you unloading
on
Zardozi?
Yep.
So our unloads are in the same race.
Yeah.
The Derby. I'm Riff Rocket, the Colt. You're Zardozi, the filly.
Oh, if Riff Rocket beats Zardozi, I'll buy you a Chinese dinner, and if Zardozi beats Riff Rocket, you can buy me Thai.
That's right. Okay, it's Chinese versus Thai.
Yeah.
It's Riff Rocket versus Zardozi. One last thing before you go.
But you can't choose that expensive fusion Chinese.
No,
city.
It's proper Chinese with a lazy Susan. It's spring rolls, fried rice.
You have to feel like shit in the morning.
Yeah. No, you feel good. Hey, quickly before you go, the Winx filly about 1 o'clock Monday at the English Easter sale. It'll go through the ring.
What do you reckon it'll sell for?
I think it'll sell for more than 2.6, which is the filly's record. That was a half sister.
I reckon it's going to go close to 4.
Yeah, I think it'll be around there too.
Because if you buy
it won't go for 5, which was that ridiculous price when everyone lost their minds over that half brother to black caviar that ended up dying of a spider bite.
They're too smart now. They're too smart. The buyers are too smart to do that. I reckon it'll cap out. I'm sure it'll get to 3, and where it gets to from there. It just depends how much. It's a collector's item. You know, like people collect.
You know what we
these.
should do?
What?
We should go out there, you and I.
Yeah. Well, I'll be out there.
And as soon as he says, "What have I got?" You know, once he goes through the spiel, and then he says, "What have I got?"
Started at $1 million.
Yeah. No, you and I should just go 2 million. Right, and then forever and a day we can be the underbidder.
What
if no one else wants it if we put up 2 million? And then we go, and after it says sold to Neil Breen and Will Freedman, and then I'll turn to you and go, did you get the X-rays done?
We'll put it through the June sale at Magic Millions if that happens.
We'll put it through the ready to run and hope some dude. There's no Hong Kong buyers will buy a filly at the ready to run. Anyway, Will Freedman, good luck on the weekend, mate. We'll see you next week.
See ya.